Alright, Miss Felicia, German girl in America. Let's see what other German brands that I am possibly saying wrong. My voice kind of cracked there. But yeah.
Hey, are you feeling any better yet?
Yes, a little.
So, which one of these soups do you want me to get you? I think this one by Nora sounds pretty good.
I don't even know what Nor is. What is Nor? And I love how she put on the German accent for this as well.
I don't see that. Oh, you mean Knorr?
Yeah, the green one right
I don't know what Knorr
Yes, it
is.
works. Also, do you have a hairdryer that I could use? Because I'm about to take a shower.
Of course, you can just use the brown one that's in the bathroom. And hey, do you want me to bring you any aspirin?
Braun. Okay. And bring me what?
Aspirin? The painkiller?
Oh, that's how you guys say aspirin?
Wait, aspirin isn't American? I thought aspirin was American. I guess I don't know anything.
Now, last time when I talked about the German discount supermarket Aldi, I briefly also mentioned
Okay, it's so funny because my grandmother actually calls Aldi Aldi's. So, yes, Americans do kind of pronounce it wrong, but I say Aldi.
Lidl, but I didn't go into detail at all, and you guys asked me in the comments how to pronounce it correctly. Most Americans I know say something like little, while the correct German pronunciation
The most Americans I know that don't know this is a German company actually pronounce it Lidl. I was like, Lidl? What is Lidl? And then I'm like, oh, Lidl. So yeah, I only know how to pronounce this because I went to Germany. But yeah.
is Lidl. It might be a little hard to say, but I think it helps to know that both of the L sounds are light L's that you pronounce with the top of your tongue. So it's Lidl. Lidl.
Yeah, I know Lidl. I have to tell everyone about it all the time. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's a German company. They're like, what? It's German? I had no idea. And I'm like, yeah, it's German.
Instead of Lidl. In Germany, they've been around for decades, but in the US, they only opened their first location in 2017.
Fun fact about Lidl, I semi-helped them open in the US. I worked for a company in Heilbronn and Neckarsulm, and I was teaching a lot of people English that were getting ready to move over to the USA to work at Lidl. So, yes, I kind of helped that. And we have two Lidls right here, right near me in North Carolina, in Charlotte.
So many of you guys have probably never even seen a Lidl store here. We don't have one here in the Cincinnati area either, but fortunately we have two Aldi locations, and I actually do most of my grocery shopping there because
it's funny how I mentioned that, and then she's like, oh, they don't have any in Cincinnati. But maybe they'll change that. I know quite a few people that work at Lidl, and they are in D.C. or the Virginia area. That's where the headquarters actually are. And yeah.
the prices are significantly lower than at your normal American grocery store, and I just love the concept of being in and out of there within 20 minutes or less. Aldi actually has over 2,000 stores in the US, while Lidl only has around 100 currently.
So I actually didn't know that. I have gone into the Lidl here in Charlotte. I've been to one, another one is being built, so it's not actually open yet. I didn't really do any shopping at the Lidl, mainly because I was only going in there for speculatius. Those that know me, speculatius is my favorite Christmas thing about Germany, and Aldi was all sold out, so I was like, all right, I'm going to Lidl, and I bought like 4 packs. I am all out now. Sad face.
To give you guys a little background information, Lidl is the main competitor of Aldi, and they basically copied the concept of Aldi, which had been around for about 10 years when Lidl first opened up in 1973.
So this is actually true. Lidl and Kaufland, another Lidl's sister company is Kaufland. And they were actually going to Australia, but as soon as COVID hit, they was like, okay, we're done. And I actually helped some of the people that were going to Kaufland learn English and everything. They wanted to specifically learn Australian English, and I was like, I don't know anything about Australia or any of their English, so I had to look it up. But yeah, fun fact.
The history of the company goes way back to the 1860s though. The initial store was called Lidl und Zieh Südfrüchtenhandlung and was located in Heilbronn in the
Lidl und Co. Südfrüchtenhandlung. Let me know if I said that right.
State of Baden-Württemberg. In 1930.
Fun fact, I lived in Baden-Württemberg. Well, I just said that. I said I lived in Heilbronn. But my whole time in Germany was in Baden-Württemberg. but I am planning on moving to Hamburg as soon as COVID is over and I'm able to get back to Germany. But yes.
The local merchant Josef Schwarz joined the company, which was then renamed Lidl und Schwarz KG, and it became a...
Yep, this I actually knew because of the Schwarzgruppe. Like I said, Lidl and Kaufland are sister companies. And yeah, both of them have their headquarters in, well, Kaufland headquarters is in Heilbronn, and the Lidl headquarters is in Neckarsulm.
Wholesale business. After it was completely destroyed in World War II, they rebuilt the business within 10 years and then opened their first discounter retail store in 1968. And from the beginning, they had both their smaller discounter stores with a rather limited selection called Lidl and their bigger full-range stores called Kaufland.
See, I know my stuff. I told you Kaufland was going to be here. Yes, that is their sister company, and yeah.
And both of these stores still exist to this day.
I always went to Kaufland in Germany, mainly because it's a big, big grocery store, and it made me feel like a little bit at home, you know? So I love Kaufland. I didn't really shop that much at Lidl. I shopped a lot at Edeka because when I lived in a very small town, there were no other grocery stores besides Edeka. So I didn't have a choice.
The next one that many of you guys asked about is a beer brand or brewery from my hometown Munich, and it's spelled like this. I'm assuming the umlaut...
Löwenbräu. I have to tell a lot of people how to pronounce this as well. Everyone always asks me. They was like, DQ, how do you pronounce this? I think they said Löwenbräu or something. But let's see what she says that people say it.
Letters is what throws most of you guys off, and I can totally understand that because those are really difficult sounds to make for non-German speakers. So I've heard Americans pronounce this brand many different ways, especially because I've been to Oktoberfest with Americans, and this tent by this brewery is actually one of the more popular ones among tourists, let's phrase it that way. Not necessarily my first choice, but they...
See, I actually talk about it sometimes that if you want to go to an Oktoberfest, don't go to Munich because it is too touristy, especially like she just said. This is the most popular one for tourists and that it's not her favorite one to go to. I completely agree. There's just so many Oktoberfest festivals that are more authentic than Munich. And Munich is also very, very pricey. And especially during the Oktoberfest times, I heard the hotels and stuff raise their prices 300%. It's just ridiculously crazy. So honestly, if you want to go to an Oktoberfest, go to Stuttgart, go to Würzburg, go to Bamberg, go to Fürth, go to Nuremberg, go to smaller towns like the towns I lived in. We had Mooswiese, and Volksfest. So there's just a lot of different festivals during the Oktoberfest time. So if you want more authentic and a little bit cheaper, go to one of these towns.
They usually try and say something like Lowenbrau.
See, I told you, Lowenbrau. I told you.
Lowenbrau, Lauenbrau, something along those lines, which might be kind of hard to understand for German native speakers, especially if it's mentioned out of context. The correct German pronunciation is Löwenbräu.
Boom! Löwenbräu. I told you. Yes, my German is still good. Let's go.
Löwenbräu. The Ö is like making an O sound, and then you kind of close your mouth a little like this. O, Ö, O, Ö, O, Ö.
I feel like she's going to end up starting a channel just teaching people how to speak German. That was actually so funny. So Felicia, start a channel where you start teaching people German.
I feel really dumb doing this. And then the A umlaut U diphthong is pronounced oi. So like O-I in English. Like
oi! That's what they say all the time in Australia. Oi!
Coin. What's also important to know here is that the German W is pronounced like an English V, so V, and the R is pronounced in the back of your throat, like in French. But if you can do
yes, I can roll my R's. Let's go. Boy! And some dialects in Germany, they roll their R's a lot as well.
A rolled R like in Spanish, that works too. So then if you put it all together...
But the rolled R in Spanish is more like arriba! And then German's like boy. So arriba, and then boy. So it's kind of different, but yeah.
But if you can even do something like Lovenbräu or something along those lines, German native speakers will probably be able to understand what you're saying, and that's really all that matters. Now, I also got some requests to explain how other German breweries are pronounced, such as this one or this.
Warsteiner. So Warsteiner isn't my favorite beer. Don't hate me. But Haka Shore? I actually don't know that one. I really don't know that one.
Or this one, and
Weinstefana. So I actually know Weinstefana. They're actually not that bad. They're they have Helles, but I'm pretty sure they have Weissbier. Their Weissbier actually isn't that bad neither. Hopefully I'm thinking of the right beer.
Some people also asked how Hefeweizen, which is a type of beer, is pronounced correctly, and I figured since it would be a little much to...
Okay, so I actually have this issue all the time here in the US when I'm actually out somewhere and I want a Hefeweizen or I want a Kush. So they're like, a Hefeweizen, what is that? They're like, oh, a Hefeweizen. And I'm like, no, it's Hefeweizen. It's a German beer. It's Hefeweizen. And then also when I say Kush, yeah, I want a Kush. They're like, a what? I'm like, a Kush. They're like, we don't have that. And I'm like, you're Kolsch. They're like, oh, Kolsch, yeah. And I'm like, it's also a German beer. You're saying it wrong. Like, no. But you got to do what you got to do, right? And also the Kush here in the U.S. tend to be more like a Pilsner type of taste and not necessarily a dark amber, so to speak, like you actually get in Köln or Cologne.
The next one is actually the world's largest insurance company. It's based in Germany, and it's also the namesake of a big soccer arena in Munich.
It's so funny because I actually didn't know this. I thought Allianz was American. But since it's German, it might be like Allianz or something. I don't know. I didn't have this insurance in Germany. I had a private insurance, so I don't know this one. So maybe I'm about to learn something.
Most Americans call it Allianz, but the correct German pronunciation is Allianz.
Okay, see, yeah, Allianz. I really didn't know that. I thought it was Alliance. I didn't know, but Allianz, I didn't know Americans said it like that.
And the Allianz Arena is Allianz Arena in German. Its official name is Allianz SE, and it's one of the oldest insurance companies in Germany, founded in the year 1890. It was founded in my hometown Munich, which is also where their headquarters are today, but they actually started the business in Berlin and then expanded quickly to other countries such as England and the US.
So since they branched off to England and the US, I'm not quite sure what other countries they're in, but that's probably why it has more of an English pronunciation. But obviously when things go to different countries, the languages adapt to how you say it.
In the following years, they went public, and soon afterwards, they had to pay out huge amounts of insurance money to victims of the San Francisco earthquake in 1906, and also in 1912 after the sinking of the Titanic. During the Nazi...
Whoa, I did not know that. So, holy crap. Okay, that's actually very interesting. I really did not... Oh man, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Era, then they had very close connections to the NSDAP and even to Hitler personally. Their board chair, Kurt Schmidt, even became the Minister of Economics of the Third Reich in 1933, and he also became an SS honorary member.
Sheesh.
After 1940, Allianz also insured a lot of parts of the concentration camps, such as armament sites, inmate shacks, material store, and vehicle fleets, and they also came out to inspect them regularly.
Wow.
They also profited by taking over Jewish insurance houses and their clients whenever they got deported. Today, Allianz operates in over 70 countries, has more than 100 million customers worldwide, and they also created a permanent exhibition on the internet and in person about their actions during the Nazi era.
That's actually really good. I'm pretty sure they needed to do that because that's deep and that's heavy.
Now let's get to the brand that you guys mentioned by far the most in the comments, Siemens. Now the reason why I didn't include this in my first video is that to German ears, people really don't pronounce this terribly wrong. Now I've gotten so many comments from people saying that non-Germans pronounce this brand name so differently.
No, I would also say Siemens or something. I think maybe the English would be like Siemens. Semen.
And some people even said that to their ears it sounded like the English word semen. Semen.
See, I just said that.
Semen. And I mean, that might be true, but to German ears, it's really just a very minor difference. Germans pronounce it with a voiced S, which would be a Z in English, Siemens, while English speakers pronounce it with a voiceless S, Siemens. In English, that's a pretty significant difference, and it's usually indicated by using the letter Z, which makes a Z sound, or an S, which makes a S sound. But in German, the letter S can be pronounced both ways, and even in one and the same word, it's sometimes pronounced differently in different German dialects and accents.
I have a dialect when I speak German because I lived in Baden-Württemberg, so I speak a lot of Schwäbisch, but I also speak Hohenloisch, which is from the Hohenlohe region in Germany.
People who speak Bavarian dialect, for example, would say Siemens with a voiceless S, just like people do in English. Ja, servus. Du, ich hab gehört, du arbeitest jetzt bei Siemens? So, long story short, in comparison to...
So, what she just said, let's go back. Ja, servus. So, I would say that, but I would say, aber ja, servus, du. Ich hab gehört, du arbeitest denn bei Siemens, oder? That's how I would kind of say it in my Hohenloisch dialect. Du arbeitest. So I wouldn't say arbeitet. Du arbeitest jetzt bei Siemens. I would say du arbeitest jetzt bei Siemens, oder?
Along with Siemens, many people also wanted me to include Bosch in the video, and
I think I'm honestly not quite sure what Americans say here. Bosch, maybe, or something. But I think Americans would say Bosch.
Again, I didn't include this one in the first video because as a native German speaker, I really don't think that Americans pronounce this brand wrong per se.
I don't think they do neither, so yeah. I think they say Bosch. I don't know.
Americans usually say Bosch, while Germans say Bosch. So the vowel is pronounced just a little bit differently here. Bosch, Bosch. It's kind of how my friend Josh and I both pronounce his name differently. Depending on whether we speak English or German, we either say Josh in English or Josh in German.
It is so funny because my friend's Josh in Germany, I would say Josh. So, and then some of them we would call Yoshi. So we don't even say Josh or Josh. I would say Josh. So more like a Y for the J. And they're 100% German, so I'm like, hey, Josh. So maybe that's also like a different regional thing. I'm not quite sure. Let me know in the comments down below if that's regional for Josh and Josh.
The next company has invented a product that probably every single one of you has taken before at some point in your life. It's the pharmaceutical company Bayer, and the product I'm talking about is the painkiller aspirin. Now,
so I didn't even know that Bayer, maybe it's Bayer in German. I really thought this was American. Didn't know this. Wow.
That was the English pronunciation, but the correct German pronunciation would actually be Bayer.
Okay, that's what I thought. But I had no idea this was in German. Interesting.
And the medicine is called aspirin in German.
And I never heard aspirin before in Germany because everyone says ibuprofen, I think, in Germany, right? Everyone says, yeah, hast du Ibuprofen? I think so. I think everyone just says ibuprofen. Just even here, we would just say, yeah, do you have a Tylenol or aspirin or something? So it all means the same thing.
German, aspirin. Bayer is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, and they're headquartered in Leverkusen. Their name is also part of the soccer club Bayer Leverkusen, which is actually a subsidiary of Bayer, so they own it. The company was founded in 1863, and they actually invented aspirin, which is their best known product to this day. Besides that, they also created the first widely used antibiotic, Prontosil, and
I no idea, and Prontosil, I have no idea what that is.
And they also trademarked the name heroin in 1898 and marketed it as a cough suppressant and non-addictive substitute for morphine until 1910. Obviously, that's not what heroin is known as today, and
I had no idea. Oh my gosh.
Even though bioscientists were not the first ones to make heroin, the company did lead the way in commercializing it. This one you guys definitely know from the condiments or the instant food aisle at the grocery store. Americans pronounce it Knorr, but since it's a German brand,
I honestly have no idea what this is. Like, I really have no idea what Knorr is. Or Knorr.
the correct pronunciation is actually Knorr.
Okay, Knorr, yeah. But I have no idea what this is.
Knorr. The K is not silent here. Knorr was founded in 1838 by Karl Heinrich Theodor Knorr and is headquartered in Heilbronn, Germany.
Isn't Heilbronn where I live? Heilbronn? Really?
They mainly produce dehydrated soup and meal mixes, bouillon cubes, condiments, dressings, and frozen meals.
Oh, so it's like the little packets of stuff. Like, no, I don't know.
Do-do-do-do-do. Did you recognize it? That was supposed to be
That's the T-Mobile sound. Oh.
the jingle of the German telecommunications company Telekom, or as Americans would say, Telecom. By revenue, they're the
So I actually had Telecom and Vodafone in Germany, so I switched between those two. And she just said by revenue. I'm pretty sure she's gonna say the biggest in the world, which I think is true. Doesn't Telecom own pretty much everything, at least in Germany? And then like Vodafone and Aldi, they rent all their internet and stuff from Telecom and sell it for cheaper or something. I'm not quite sure, but I think that's how it works.
largest telecommunications provider in Europe, and they also operate here in the US with one of their subsidiaries, T-Mobile, or, as Americans would say, T-Mobile.
Exactly, it is T-Mobile, right? Because mobile is without the E, right? I don't know, maybe.
So let's get this straight. It's a German company, yet they chose an English name for the subsidiary.
I really didn't know Telecom was a German company. I thought T-Mobile was the main company and was American, and then they changed it to Telecom for Europe.
But even though it's English, it's pronounced differently in Germany and the US. T-Mobile versus T-Mobile. Why, I cannot tell you, but I do know that in the UK, people pretty much pronounce it like we do in Germany. They say T-Mobile. So yeah, that was really weird for me when I
That is weird, especially since English don't. Well, they say mobile phone, I think, in England, don't they? Do they? I don't know.
first came to the States, and I actually got a phone plan at T-Mobile, and I was 100% sure that I knew how to pronounce this brand, just to find out that for some unknown reasons, Americans tend to pronounce the word mobile as mobile. By the way, T-Mobile US is one of the biggest cell phone providers in the States, next
They are. Verizon, I believe, is number one. They are the best, but they are too expensive. They are crazy expensive.
to AT&T and Verizon, and they've been around here since 2001 when Telecom took over the American company VoiceStream. Speaking of T-Mobile, I had to include Playmobil.
So I really didn't know Playmobil. I didn't know what this was, but okay, cool. Yep.
Zellendorf, Germany. Playmobil was first introduced to the German market in 1974, and they quickly exported and licensed their products internationally. They're a major competitor to Lego toys, Lego in German, by the way.
I didn't know that it was a competitor to Legos because Lego is just huge. They're gigantic, so I don't really know Playmobil.
Which are originally from Denmark. Now, just like T-Mobile, they picked
Legos is from Denmark? Oh my gosh. I guess I'm not as cultured as I thought. I didn't know half of this stuff.
English name for this, Playmobil, but unlike how they did it with T-Mobile, they kept the German pronunciation of it for the American market too. In the US commercials, they call it
Yeah, because mobile without the E in American English at least is mobile, like mobile. So Playmobil, I think people would say. So I don't know. I think so.
Playmobil as well, even though in everyday life I've also heard Americans pronounce it as Playmobil, which sounds very different and somewhat wrong. If you've ever bought a hairdryer or an electric razor in the US, or in any other country really, you've probably come across the brand Braun, which is a German consumer products company founded in
I actually don't know Brown. I don't know it at all. I wonder how Americans say it, because that looks like brown or brawn, or I don't know. How do Americans say it?
1921 and based in Kronberg im Taunus. They're particularly well known for their industrial product design from the mid-20th century, which included electric razors and record players. Now, I honestly always thought that Americans pronounced this one pretty much like we do in Germany, Braun.
That's what I thought too, but apparently not.
Or brown with an American accent, which would have made sense because braun is the German word for the color brown. But when I did some research for this video, it turned out that Americans and British people too actually pronounce this brand Braun or Braun.
See, I wasn't even quite sure. I was like, yeah, they say brown, right? But it's probably brawn or something. That's weird though. I didn't know that.
Something along those lines, which sounds really weird to my ears. Fun fact, Braun was actually bought by the American Gillette Company, which was then bought by Procter & Gamble in 2005. So today, Braun actually belongs to Procter & Gamble, which is
I don't even know what Procter & Gamble is, but I do know Gillette.
Located in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is where I am right now. So we've kind of come full circle here.
So you can tell she's so German because she did all that. So she was like, yes, this last one is right where I am. That's very German. It's how I set up like my videos and stuff too. But it's so funny. I really didn't know half of these companies were actually German, like T-Mobile or T-Mobile, excuse me. And aspirin. I really didn't know that because no one says aspirin. Do they in German? Maybe. I don't know. All right, guys. Leave your thoughts down below. I'm actually mind blown right now. And subscribe.